All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Akila, did I send you that link? Okay. Hey, if you guys are joining us online, welcome. So glad that you guys are here. You guys should have gotten a worksheet. It's in the chat room. We'll be updating that throughout the morning so you can get it. So glad that you guys are here. Those of you guys who woke up this morning, thank you guys. Appreciate it. We're good. What? Yeah. Yeah. Who's calling? You guys hear that? Yeah. All right. I'll give you guys about 10 more seconds to get that downloaded, and then we're going to get started. It's good morning. We're not going to be super long today. At least I don't think we are. All right. Akila, why don't you go ahead and kill that music there, and let's get started. All right, guys. Well, today is session number 8. We're going to be talking about how to move your clients from your inbox to your bank account. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through some pretty in-depth teaching. Pay close attention today because so many of you guys, if you use the process that we've taught the last 3 days, what should be happening as you begin getting your content out, as you begin doing podcasts, you begin wooing people into you, chances are your email, your database, your Facebook groups, and your Facebook Messenger should start getting some hits, okay? Start getting some hits. When I first started in the digital marketing world, the only way that I got leads was through direct message, okay? You know, so I would comment on something in like a ClickFunnels group or a Infusionsoft group or some other type of group, and then we'd help some people, and then they would reach out to me in my inbox. And there was a huge responsibility because I had to figure out a way how to move the people who say, hey, Chad, how are you? I saw you online. I noticed you do X, Y, Z. Hey, well, I'm looking for someone to do this and that. Was wondering if we could talk, right? And so when I first started, it was a huge responsibility. I would reach out to these people. I'd get them on a phone or on a Skype call or a Zoom call or whatever, and I'd literally spend like an hour or 2 hours with them, and at the end of the day, they went away. They ghosted me. They didn't give me any money. Okay, they didn't do business with me, sort of like my dating life, very similar, okay? And it was awful, right? It was awful. And there's got to be a better way to do this, okay? There's got to be a better way to take somebody from your inbox and move them into your bank account. Like there's got to be a better way. So what I did was I started paying attention. I started paying close attention to what was happening with me, what was happening with my ability to communicate with people, and what was the difference between those people that said yes and those people that said no. And after studying like dozens of examples, I sort of figured it out. And so what I want to do today over the next couple hours is I'm going to talk with you about how to move your clients from your inbox to your bank account. I'm going to show you how to do a discovery call. What is the actual way, the appropriate way to do a phone call? So like when somebody reaches out to you to do a discovery call, what should happen on that phone call that moves them to saying, okay, I'm ready, and give me some money. And so pay close attention today. We're going to jump right in. What I do is I call this the client's method, okay? Just disconnect it. Because you're on the wrong one. You're connected in the wrong level. Yeah, so I've got yeah, so see, like you're trying to connect that you're in audio, right? So you're in all of this, and you should be just right here. Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and get it. There we go. So now let's try this. Okay, there we go. Whiteboard. Perfect. And let's get you out of the way. All right, so here we go. So this is called the client's method, okay? So what I want to show you is it just simply makes a little acronym called clients, okay? The first one, okay, C, if you're paying attention, this is you want to call your niche out by name. So if you're going to figure out a way how to get them from your inbox to your bank account, you want to be able to call your niche out by name. I say call them out. The reason is because, like, if you don't call them out by name, you're never going to be able to make it personal. So I remember, I don't know, a year or so ago, back when the malls were open. My kids and I were walking through the mall, and somebody said, "Dad," and just instinctively I turned around, right? I wasn't their dad, but I'm known as dad, and so just instinctively I turned around. And what you should do, what you should know, is you should get to the point where you're so used to calling your clients out by name, okay, whether they're a speaker or a coach or a consultant or a strategist or whatever, right, that when you call that title, everybody with that title perks up and listens up, okay? So one of the big mistakes that you and I make sometimes when it comes time to actually getting people to reach out to us and apply is sometimes people don't reach out to us because they don't know that we want to do business with them. I remember back when I was in college, my basketball coach, it was my second year of college. I was here in Arizona playing, and we made the national tournament in Oklahoma City. So we traveled to Oklahoma City and we listened. We won the first game, we won the second game, and now we were in the final game playing for the championship, literally for the national championship. And we were in Oklahoma. The team that we were playing was from Oklahoma, and so the stadium, I don't know, probably had 6,000 to 7,000 people in it, and like 5,997 of them were for them, right? And then, I think our manager was there, and I know somebody's wife was there for us, but like it was really lopsided. They called us a neutral court, but it wasn't anything neutral. And I remember my coach, Tom Kuiper, said something in that huddle that like literally has not shaken me, but shifted the way that I see things. Here's what he said. So the game is getting ready to start. It's really loud. The place is rocking. Okay, lots of really loud music. The people are screaming and shouting. It's something that we had never experienced before. We were used to playing in front of crowds of like 200 or 300, and these guys had like 5,000 or 6,000, okay? And so he's down on his knee, right? He's down on his knee. He goes, listen to me. You need to hear my voice. When I shout out an instruction from the sideline, you need to be able to hear me. And it should be easy. Why? Because you've heard my voice so often. And that just hit me. Like, holy smokes, he's right. I can recognize his voice in the midst of a crowded world. Why? Because I've listened to his voice so often. I've heard it so many times. As an influencer, as somebody who's trying to transform the world, your world, whatever you're trying to do, you need to call your audience out by name so much that you stand out from a noisy world and they can hear you, okay? So if you're following along in your notes, you should be visible so often that they automatically recognize your voice. Okay, that's bullet point number one. You should be visible so often they automatically recognize your voice. Okay, you just got to do that. So in other words, so when you're running ads or when you're running copy or you're running any type of content marketing and stuff like that, you can't just be generic in your approach. You've got to call these people out by name because that's where it starts. Okay, so if at the end of the day, if they're going to come here, okay, and this is the beginning, and then this is the end, where they put some cash in your bank account, it all starts right here with calling them out by name. Who do you want to put money into your bank account? Speak to them. Speak to them and call them out by name. The second bullet point, the easiest way to create curiosity, okay, the easiest way to create curiosity is to lead with your payoff. So what you do is you call them out by name, okay, and then you lead with the payoff, okay? So let's say that, I was working with realtors, okay? Let's just take the realtor market for a second. If I was going to work with real estate agents, okay, and the payoff that I was trying to get to a real estate agent was I was going to try to get them inbound leads, like a plethora of inbound leads, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call them out by name, hey, realtors, and then I'm going to lead with my payoff. Realtors, how would you like to have a calendar full of inbound leads, right? So whatever your payoff is, you're going to call them out by name and follow it up with a payoff because that's so powerfully important because at the end of the day, as we've talked about 100 times this weekend, is people buy the payoff, they don't buy the process. So what you want to do in order to close more leads is the people that are in your inbox, you want them to be the right people. You want them to be qualified people. And the easiest way to qualify people is to simply call them out by name. Here's who I'm looking for, and put the payoff. And typically those people who want that payoff are the ones that are going to reach out to you. Does that make sense? You guys getting that? And so what you want to do here is you want to call them out by name. Why? Because you want to qualify. You want to qualify your audience. Okay? You want to qualify them. So if you can call them out by name and then lead with the payoff, okay, chances are the people that you're wanting to work with and the people who want that payoff, they're the ones that are going to reach out to you. They're the ones who are going to direct message you. They're the ones who are going to get in your funnel. They're the ones who are going to get in your inbox. They're the ones who are going to, shoot you an email or whatever. They're the ones, okay? Now, go down to the bottom of your sheet here, okay? Knowing who you are, what you do, who you help, and the expected outcomes gives you the clarity needed to gain confidence and change the world. We've talked about that, okay? So making a close always begins on knowing who you are, who you help, what you do, and what the expected outcomes are, and staying in your lane. When you start getting out of your lane, you start doing too many things, you start solving all the world's problems, you're going to find yourself in a position where chances are you're going to solve no problems, and you don't want to do that. L, okay? L. So the second thing so the first thing you want to do is you want to call them out by name, okay? You want to call them out by name. Then the second thing you want to do is you want to leverage, okay? You want to leverage existing relationships. Okay, so we talk all the time that hey, chances are, if you're following along here, okay, chances are around 90% of your business is going to come from people that you already know, okay? So if you guys are note takers and you like the bullet points there, first bullet point is 90% of the people that are going to give you money when you first start out is chances are it's people you already know. And then what happens is that number only increases as you get better. Because what happens is you learn to do a few things, okay? So what you learn to do is you learn that there is a red ocean, you learn that there is a blue ocean, okay? And then you learn very, very quickly that what you're trying to do is you're trying to create your own little pond, okay? And then the people get siphoned from the red ocean, get siphoned from the blue ocean into your little pond. And then what you learn very quickly is that as your pond grows, okay, these people know you, and then the majority, almost all of your clients come from right here, okay? So what you want to look at when you first get started is this is ultimately what you're going to build, but at the same time, when you first start, you actually already have this, right? Because you have things like Facebook group. You have things like Facebook groups, okay? So you have your Facebook groups. You have your profiles, okay? You have your networks, and you have your inner circles, okay? You already have these, okay, as an entrepreneur. Some of you have bigger ones than others, but you already have Facebook groups that you belong to, or that you run. You already have a Facebook profile, an Instagram profile, a LinkedIn profile that has friends and family and colleagues in there. You already have networks where you rub shoulders with other people, and you already have an inner circle. So what's going to happen is when you first start, 90% of your clients, almost everybody, is going to come from right here. So this is why when we are in Cavu and we make a $36,000 guarantee that you're going to make your money back in the first 90 days. And if not, I push pause on your payments until you do. The reason is because I'm very confident about this, that if I can just get you to launch quickly, we can tap into this group of people and we can find some low-hanging fruit and make you some sales and some conversions very, 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 very quickly. Okay, so when you first get started with your online business, chances are around 90% of your business will come from people you already know. Now, here's what you have to understand about relationships. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this, and this could be some of the most important training that I do today. So just focus in, put the babies down for a second, tune me in, and listen up, okay? Let's talk about relationships for a second, because at the end of the day, this is all about relationships, okay? All about relationships. Let's come here and talk about this. So we're going to leverage what type of relationships? Existing relationships. We're going to leverage existing relationships. So let's look at this word, this concept called relationship just for a little bit. Let's see if I can help you understand this, okay? We do a funny little thing. If you guys have ever been to one of my one-day events, which I think Akila and Crystal, did you come to my one-day event? Okay, Crystal and Akila have been here. So normally at my one-day events, about 70 or 80% through the event, I'll ask you a question. Hey, are there any single ladies in the house? And so we did an event here, a few months ago, I guess in February now, right? We did an event back here in February, and the place was packed. We had 40-something people in here, which for my little studio, that's a lot of people. The place was packed, and I asked the question, hey, are any single ladies in the house? And 3 or 4 ladies raised their hand and said, I'm single. So I looked at this one girl right over here. I looked at her and said, hey, what's your name? I don't know what her name, let's say she said, Martha. I said, hey, Martha, how are you? I said, I got a question for you. She goes, yeah. I said, this may be a little awkward for you since we haven't really talked before, but I'm looking for a wife, and I was wondering if you would marry me, right? Like, right, fun. And what do you think she said? What do you think she said, Dee? Hell no. She said yes, didn't she? She said yes. I'm like, what? You're the first person to ever say yes. I'm like, okay, you're in my example. And then there was a girl sitting on the couch, and I said, hey, what's your name? She told me. I said, hey, I was wondering if you would marry me. And she said, yes. I'm like, what? You're ruining my relationship. Then there was a little gal over here, and I said, would you marry me? And she goes, no. I said, oh, good. I said, stand up and tell me why. She goes, well, I don't know you. She goes, I don't know you. I said, okay, well, what would it take for you to get to know me? She goes, well, I don't know you. I don't know your kids. I don't know anything about you besides you speak. I said, well, okay, so that's what you don't know. Well, what would it take to get to know you? And she started, well, I would need to know this, and I need to know this. And I said, but what would it take to do that? And I walked her through this process. What do you think it took for her to get to know all of that? It took one thing, 4 letters, time. It takes time, okay? It takes time to build a relationship. Anybody who's ever been married knows you didn't just walk up to the gal, maybe on a TV show, and say, hey, will you marry me? And her say yes, and you guys live happily ever after. It doesn't happen, okay? So what it takes time in order to build a relationship. Well, the same thing is true in the business world. It takes time to build a relationship. However, there is something that you have that can make time nearly irrelevant, and it's called value. Okay, it's called value. Value, watch this. Value compresses time, and accelerates relationship building, okay? Value is what compresses time. So in other words, if it takes time to build a relationship with somebody, okay, it takes time. Well, you can actually give so much value to somebody that the relationship can be built much faster because the value actually compresses time, and in a short amount of time, people actually will buy from you. That's why we always say you can do a quick launch with a lead magnet, an opportunity script, get somebody on the telephone and sell them a $25,000 product, because on your opportunity script, you're going to add some value. On the lead magnet, you're going to add some value. But when you get them on the phone call, you're going to add a freaking ton of value. You're going to blow their mind. You're going to compress time drastically, and you can move a certain percentage of them to your bank account very quickly by adding something that compresses time and accelerates time and gets you to the sale quicker, and that's by value. So let's look at some things, okay? So what I want to talk about is if value compresses time and accelerates the relationship building, then leveraging existing relationships can add significant value or massive decline to your business. We're going to look at some statistics in a minute, but let me see if I can just show you something, okay? We're going to look at a concept in just a second called the power of weak ties, but I want to see if I can prove this value thing to you, okay? There's a little thing called reciprocity, right? You guys know what reciprocity is, okay? Reciprocity is the psychological notion that says when you do something for someone, they feel psychologically obligated to return the favor, okay? They feel psychologically obligated to return the favor. So for instance, if Ross and I are going to a restaurant here in Phoenix, it's like hotter than heck. And so if we're going to a restaurant, all the restaurants in Phoenix have 2 doors, right? Two layers of doors. So they have an outside door. You open the door. You go in, there's a little breezeway, and then there's another set of doors. So let's say Ross and I, we don't know each other, but we're going to Chili's, the same restaurant, and I'm walking up to the door, and Ross is about 5 or 6 steps behind me. And I see him, with my peripheral vision, I see him, and I open the door, and I see Ross. I'm like, here, man, go ahead in. and Ross just goes on in before me. And now we're at a second set of doors. Is Ross just going to open the door, walk in, and let it just slam on my face? No! Why? Because of the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity says that if I do something nice for him, open the door, let him go in, now he feels psychologically obligated to then hold the door and then let me go first. Unless he's just a total horse's rear end, and I don't think he is, okay? Okay, so that's called the law of reciprocity. Well, what happens is in the digital marketing world or in the online space or in the coaching space or whatever, you actually have some things that you can do proverbially, okay, that can act as me opening the door or you opening the door and allowing that other person. But what does that other person do? What we know is if you can add value, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. If you can add value, it's actually possible for your clients, listen to me, it's actually possible for your clients to return that favor, not by adding value back to you, but actually by paying you. And that's what happens. The more value you add, the quicker the relationship is built and time is compressed, and the quicker they put money in your bank account. So let's talk about value. Okay? So if we're going to leverage existing relationships, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out that there's already people we know. Okay? There's already people we know. I'm going to show you that in just a second. But since there's already people that we know, we have to have a game plan on how to add value. So remember yesterday, I set you guys up. Okay? Yesterday we had this little thing called content, right? And we created all this content. You guys remember that? So yesterday we created the, the 2,500 word article. Yesterday we created a master class. Yesterday we created a video series. Okay. Yesterday we created a podcast. Okay, you guys are podcast questions, and we created a lead magnet. You guys remember that? Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to leverage the content that you created to be able to offer it as value. Okay, to offer it as value to be able to get a relationship. Okay? Now, where are these relationships coming from? We don't want these relationships at the beginning to be cold relationships. We want these relationships to come from existing relationships, right? Okay? So you guys have probably seen this on social media. Have you ever seen, like on Facebook, they'll make suggested friends, friends you may want to know or whatever, and they do that. Where do those people come from? Do they just pull them out of thin air? They come, right, they come from, they're like, okay, you're already engaging with these people. So if you're already engaging with them, here's some people from their friends list that we think you may want to know as well. And Zuckerberg and all his crew say, here, why don't you go meet these people, right? And what all they're basically saying is, let me help you leverage an existing relationship to make a new relationship. And that's all they're doing. Is let me show you how to leverage an existing relationship to make a new relationship. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, I'm going to leverage the relationships that I already have, right? In those inner circles that we have. I'm already going to leverage those. But what can I do when I tap into their relationships? What do I have in order to build my own relationship with them? Okay, well, I have content. Okay, and content is going to add value, which is going to compress time and allow me to have my own relationship with them. Okay? Now, so let me just show you from a psychological standpoint how this works. Well, let me show you some stats, okay? Let me show you some statistics. So if you go here, the bottom of page 2, 84% of people in Boston, okay? We're going to talk about the power of weak ties in just a minute. We're going to talk about, leveraging an existing relationship to build a new relationship, okay? So 84% of people in Boston, and Chris, if you can pay attention to the camera, okay, 84% of people in Boston got their job through a weak tie relationship. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. According to Chamber of Commerce, or BBC.com, okay, they got it through weak tie relationships. 95% of anybody who ever converts to Christianity, according to oikosbooks.com, converts through a weak tie relationship, so through someone that they already know. Like not through a stranger, not through being screamed at on the corner, but actually they converted to Christianity because someone that they knew invited them to convert. Okay? A 1-star increase can increase sales by 5 to 9%, while a negative review on Facebook or Instagram is likely to deter over 80% of people who read it, and 67% are more likely to try a restaurant after seeing a positive Facebook post. That's a lot. I actually think they're supposed to say a 1-star increase on Yelp or Facebook or Instagram. I think we're missing Yelp on there. Okay, this is according to Harvest Fruit. So think about that, okay? A 1-star increase can increase sales by 5 to 9%. I think that's on Yelp, okay? While a negative review on Facebook, so remember, Yelp is strangers, okay? Yelp is strangers. So when we want to go to a restaurant, want to see if it's any good, where do we go? We go to where? Yelp. We go to Yelp, okay? Let's see that, and we see what's everybody saying, okay? What's everybody saying? But if a restaurant gets a negative review on Facebook or Instagram, because now it's people that we know or, it's likely to deter over 80% of people who read it. So in other words, if I say, hey, this crab shack over here is a piece of crap shack, okay, 80% of my friends aren't going to go to the crab shack, okay? Does that make sense? Because that's the power of this type of relationship, okay? 67%, though, are more likely to try a restaurant after seeing a positive Facebook post as opposed to only 5 to 9% as a seeing it on Yelp. See, that's the difference between a stranger and someone that you already know, okay? They're both powerful, they're both positive, they both help or they both deter, but your friends or your friends' friends have more power over you than strangers, okay? So I remember, I told you guys yesterday, one of my favorite TV series that's on Netflix right now is called Dead to Me, right? And I'd seen Dead to Me on Netflix multiple times, and I had never, ever touched it until I was out talking with somebody one day, and they're like, oh my God, you got to check out this show on Netflix. It's called Dead to Me, right? So it's a relationship, it's an existing relationship that I have, and because this person told me to do it, what did I do? I went and did it. Now, if I just see a commercial for Dead to Me, it's not going to have the power over me like a referral, okay? So because of that, because referrals are so powerful to me, even if the people that I already know don't buy from me, when they make a referral of me, watch what happens, okay? This is called the power of weak ties. Let me see if I can show you this, okay? Like I told you, this is some of the most powerful psychological training that you've ever had. You guys ever heard of the power of weak ties before? Okay? So, some of you guys have, some of you haven't. Okay? So the power of weak ties goes like this, okay? I got to draw myself a nice little triangle here. Ooh. I guess you say, ooh. Now the thing is I probably could have just made it create a, whatever. You get the idea. Okay, you got the idea. So let's talk about power of weak ties. So there's 3 levels. Okay, over here is strong ties. Okay, this is a strong tie. Over here is an absent tie. And then down here is a weak tie. Okay, now watch. So let's just say, let me just define these. So an absent tie is there's no relationship that exists. A strong tie is there's a really positive relationship. And a weak tie is a relationship between a person that you don't know, but you and your strong tie have in common, okay? So we're just gonna use some examples. So let's say that we come up here and we're gonna put Ross up here, okay? And we're gonna put Brian over here, and we're gonna put D over here, okay? So in this diagram, who has the relationship? Ross and who? Ross and D. Who doesn't have a relationship? Ross and Brian, okay? So Ross has a relationship with D. Ross does not have a relationship with Brian. but Ross wants to have a relationship with Brian, okay? So Dee and Brian actually have a relationship, okay? Ross and Dee have a relationship. So what Dee does is Dee goes over and says, hey, Ross, my buddy Brian wants to meet you. He wants to get in the restaurant business or wants to get in the restaurant marketing business or whatever, okay? And I really think that you guys should meet. So what happens is Dee, okay? So Dee comes over here and says, hey, Ross, you and I got a really good relationship. I want you to come over here and I want you to meet Brian, right? Okay, what's the connector between Ross and Brian? Dee, okay? So Dee is actually the connector, oops, Dee, come here. Dee is actually the thing that's connecting Ross and Brian, right? So Ross wants to meet Brian, Brian wants to meet Ross, okay? So Dee says, hey, Ross, I really want you to meet Brian. So here's what happens. What happens is at this point, Ross and Brian don't know each other. But because Dee told Ross, hey, I want you to meet Brian, and I want you, Brian's trying to break into this particular world, okay, whatever. What's going to happen is Ross is going to meet Brian, okay? Ross is going to meet Brian right here. And because Ross doesn't want to piss off Dee or harm the relationship with Dee, and because Brian has a relationship with Dee, and Brian doesn't want to hurt that, Ross is going to do everything that he can to help Brian, and Brian is actually going to feel psychologically obligated to pay Ross because Brian doesn't want to piss off Dee. Does that make sense? So it's the power of weak ties. So the relationship between Ross and Brian, even though they don't know each other, is actually the strongest relationship because of Dee. Brian doesn't want to piss off Dee. Ross doesn't want to piss off Dee or damage that relationship. So Ross will do things that he normally wouldn't do. Brian will do things that he normally wouldn't do. Why? Because of Dee. And Dee's not even in the picture. All Dee did was just simply make the introduction. Well, the same thing is true in referral, okay? If you guys are trying to make a lot of money, okay, you need to leverage existing relationships, because even if the existing relationships that you have don't work, when they share your content, when they share your value, when they make a recommendation, that recommendation is the strongest tie in the entire relationship, because you don't want to piss off the person that recommends you, and the person that you're talking to wants to buy from you because they don't want to disappoint the person that recommended you. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll just give you a case in point. A few months ago, I was looking for someone to organize my home, okay? And I put a little Facebook post out, and so my friend Michelle reached out to me and said, hey, I have someone that would be perfect for the job. So this particular person came, I met her, I didn't know anything about her, but Michelle said that she was great. If Michelle says she's great, what is she? Great. She's great. So I actually didn't vet her, I didn't do anything, I just said, bam, you got the job, okay? Why? Because of my relationship with this person or my relationship with Michelle? My relationship with Michelle, okay? Does that make sense? So this person didn't ask any questions about me. She didn't vet me. Why? Because of the relationship she had with Michelle. And so that's the power of weak ties. So what I'm telling you is, even if you don't sell on your Facebook page, when people on your page, or your profile, begin to refer you, those referrals are the most powerful, strong relationships that you can have. And all you have to do when you get a referral is add a little value, a little content, and time is decreased rapidly, and the chances of you doing business with those people are 10x. I want to tell you about the very first, second. It would have been the second one. The second high-ticket client that I ever got. So there's a big marketer in the marketing space. Her name is Rachel Peterson. And Rachel had known me for a while. Her and I had texted back and forth. We did a couple collaborative nonprofit projects together. And she reached out to me just out of the blue one day and said, hey, Chad, and she just did a group message, hey, Chad, meet Rachel, Rachel, meet Chad, okay? She goes, Chad, Rachel is a big-time kick-ass marketer and coach in the Phoenix area, and I know you live in the Phoenix area. She's looking for a coach and someone who builds funnels, and I don't know anybody who coaches better and builds funnels better than you, and just so happen to be in the backyard, meet each other, right? So later on that day, I got a really big paycheck, I would have never found this person if it weren't for Rachel, okay, ever. And this person would not have ever paid me if it weren't for Rachel. But because Rachel was the weak tie, okay, I took on this client, and this client paid me a lot of money without a whole lot of vetting, without a whole lot of anything. Why? Because of the power and influence that Rachel had. Does that make sense? Okay, now, what happened next then was then when I went and got a high-ticket client that was looking for a kick-ass Facebook ads person, who did I make that recommendation to? I made it to Rachel. Does that make sense? Because that's how it works. And that's the power of weak ties. So when I tell you that you have to leverage, and the reason why I'm spending so much time on here is some of you guys are so busy going after cold traffic, people that you don't know, that you don't realize you got $100 or $200 or $300,000 sitting in your Facebook inbox as we speak. And if you can understand this, okay, if you can understand the concept of weak ties, it can really, really, really get you far. So bottom of this page. In order to leverage existing relationships, you have to switch the mindset of your positioning, okay? So if you understand the power of weak ties, okay, what you have to do now is the next step is, okay, I'm going to leverage existing relationships, but now I have to switch my mindset, okay? I have to switch my mindset. And what I have to realize is that people do, if you want to write this down, people do what you give them permission to do, okay? People do what you give them permission to do. And the people who make money in our industry are the permission givers, not the permission askers. That make sense? The permission givers. So for instance, like when you come to a Cavu event, I give you permission to be fun but classy, professional, upbeat, on the up and up, raise your level, raise your game, whatever, right? I give you permission to do that. But I also remove the permission for you to sabotage or whatever, right? And so I've always believed that if people are doing stuff that you don't like, it's because you're giving them permission to do that. Even if you're subconsciously giving them permission, you're giving them permission to do that. Like, I don't want drama, I don't want headaches, I don't want heartaches, right? But if you get drama, headaches, and heartaches, that's because that's what's happening. So what you need to do with the power of weak ties is you need to understand that when you reach out to people or when you're adding value, people do what you give them permission to do. You need to give them permission and communicate to them and suggest that they do, that they share your stuff. That they share your stuff. Give them permission. Okay, so for instance, like when I'm on my game, okay, and I'm doing a powerful Facebook post, and and I need some cash flow or whatever, and I know that, man, I got to turn this Facebook post into 20, 30, 40 grand. Okay, what I do is I'm very good at this, okay? I'm very good at how you doing, everybody? Chad Thibodeaux, business coach and launch strategist. And listen, today what I want you to do is I'm going to help you get your business to the next level. And this information is so powerful and so good that it's going to help so many people that right this moment, listen to me, stop, focus. Right this moment, I want you to reach out and I want you to hit that share button. The reason is because this information is not only going to transform your life, but there are people in your inbox that it could help and it could transform. And you and I both have the moral and ethical responsibility to help as many people as possible. So right now, I want you to just reach up there and I want you to hit that share button. Here's what I want you to do. When you hit that share button, take a screenshot of it, put it in the comments below. My assistant's going to see that, and I've asked her, I've got a special training I'm going to give you absolutely free to do that. But guys, what do you say? You and I partner together right now. Let's change the world. Hit that share button and let's go. What did I just do? I gave them permission to share it. Now, here's what I didn't do. Here's what some of you guys did. Guys, listen, it would just mean the world to me if you guys would like hit that little share button. It would be so awesome. No. You tell them. You tell them. People who get paid tell. People who don't get paid ask. Okay? Part of being an expert is you change your tonality. Give them permission, okay? Claim the role as expert. Okay, third one, okay? Third one. So this is I, okay? I. So once you've called them out by name and you've leveraged your existing relationships, okay? So now, and we're giving them permission to get in your inbox or giving them permission to do whatever it is we're giving them permission to do. Now what we want to do is we want to invite them on a call, okay? We want to invite them on a call. So CLI, invite on a call. Now, focus here a little bit with me. If you never make an invitation to a call, then no one will simply volunteer to buy from you, okay? You have to make an invite, okay? So I have a birthday on Tuesday, And there's nobody coming to my birthday party on Tuesday. Why? Because I never invited anybody. They're not just going to show up. There are some people that would just show up and, then you have to call the cops on them. That's a whole different story. But, they're not just going to show up, right? Okay? And so what I want you to do is you got to invite them to the call. And I'm going to show you on the side here, I'm going to show you a framework. What do we do on this phone call? Okay, what do we do on this phone call? Because this phone call is so powerful. And I really wish Nancy were in here because I'm doing this for her. Do you know where Nancy is?
She's on a call.
Oh, she's on a call. Okay, well, there you go. This was her training today. So Nancy, you're going to have to watch this on replay. Okay, but here's how you do a call. Here's how you do a discovery call. If you want to move people into your inbox, okay, so the first thing is we want to make them aware, right? So we call them out by name. Hey, speakers. Hey, coaches. Hey, consultants. Hey, restaurant people. Hey, whatever, right? And then you hit them with the payoff, okay? Bam, bam. So now you got their attention, okay? And then once you got their attention, you add value to them, right? So you add value. And then you leverage the existing relationship that they have so you can build your audience a little bit. You can press time through value. And now what you're going to do is you're going to invite them on a call. Here's what you do on the call. Okay, and so this is my little framework. Okay, this is my little framework. So I get them on a phone call. We're going to talk about the type of phone call in a minute. But here's what I do. It's very simple. Hey Brian, how are you, man? Good. Hey bro, we've only got a little bit of time right now, and so I'm just going to jump in. Hey, in 2 minutes or less, tell me a little bit about you or what you do. Now, why do I say that? Why do I say 2 minutes or less? What's the psychological advantage that I'm doing right here?
You don't have to talk a lot. Summarize it.
But not just that. Think about this. What I'm doing is from the get-go, I'm establishing that I'm in control of the call. I'm establishing my role and my position. I am the permission giver, not the permission getter. The reason is that at the end of the phone call, I don't want to have to ask for money. I want to tell them to pay. Does that make sense? See, you got to shift your mind. Okay, so many of us are in the process of asking, okay, and then what you do is you forfeit control over that phone call. And some of you wonder why your conversion rates are so low. The reason is because you give 100% of the control to the person, okay, and because you've got what we call a vendor mindset. You got to get out of a vendor mindset. You're not a vendor. This isn't some kind of home show where you're going and say, look at me, look what this little ShamWow does. No, you're not a vendor. You're an expert. You're a world changer. You got the goods to come in and change somebody's life. You got to act like it. So right from the get-go, you establish your authority and your position in the relationship, and you say, here's who I am. And so I always say, hey, Brian, man, in 2 minutes or less, listen, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time today. So listen, in 2 minutes or less, tell me a little bit about you and about what you do, okay? And he's going to get talking. In 2 minutes, he's going to come. Hey, Brian, listen, man, I hate to bug you. I hate to interrupt you. But, we only had a couple minutes for that call. We got to move on. We'll catch up on more of that story a little bit later. So, but let me ask you this. Okay, in your business right now, I love what you do. But in your business right now, okay, what do you love about your business? Like, what's firing on all cylinders? What's going really well? What do you love? Okay, so tell me a little bit what you do. Now listen, when you're on this phone call and you ask that question, why are you asking that question? The reason why you're asking that question is they are going to tell you right off the get-go, okay, right off the get-go what makes them happy. And you need to write that down, okay? You need to just take notes, okay? Here's what's making them happy, okay? So tell me right now, what do you love about your business? What's working, okay? The reason is they're going to tell you what's working in their business, what's firing on all cylinders right now. So you're not going to go sell them a solution to that, right? But you got to get them. You got to get them talking great. Now, there's also a second psychological reason to do that, okay? Most people that are solopreneurs or agency owners or business owners, okay, let's just call a spade a spade. Most of us are A-type personalities, high-level leaders. We're sort of full of ourselves. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. We love us some us, right? How many of you guys love you some you? You guys love you some you? It's very difficult for you to be an entrepreneur if you don't love you some you. Okay, I promise you. You love you some you. In fact, most of us have some narcissism in us, right? Now, there's a difference between narcissism and narcissistic personality disorders, okay? You got that? There's a big difference, okay? But listen, most of us think the world revolves around us, right? That's why we're solopreneurs. That's why we're entrepreneurs. We think this is the way to go, the best way to go. we're right, you're wrong. Okay, 9 to 5s, are terrible. You follow me? We're not sheep, we're lions. You get the whole idea, right? So because of that, you have to take advantage of that, right? You have to take advantage of the fact that these are lions that you're talking about. Now, because these people love them, who do they love to talk about? They love to talk about themselves. So what you want to do right here, this is what I call my blowing smoke up the skirt moment, right here, okay? Right here, what I do is I'll say, hey, Brian, what do you love about your business right now? What's working? So in other words, I want him to start talking about him. And when I hear something that he says that's really good, tell me a little bit more about that, man. Dude, you sound like an expert in that field. How'd you get into that? That's awesome. And what am I doing? I'm getting him to talk about it, because here's why. Here's why. When you can inflate, I'm giving you guys all my secrets today, okay? But when you can inflate the ego of an egomaniac, he's not telling you no, because he's going to look at him telling you no as a sign of weakness.
Absolutely.
You guys get that? So you blow smoke up the rear end, you get them talking about themselves at the beginning. And they will talk themselves into buying from you. The reason is because they don't want to be viewed. Like when you start telling me about how great your business is and how wonderful you are and how skilled you are and how great you are, okay, as you begin extrapolating that, if I really believe that I can help you, this is the easiest close in the history of the world. Now watch this. Now once I've blown smoke up their rear end, now they need to make an admission. So the third phase is what frustrates you about your business? What's broken? In other words, what keeps you up at night? Okay? Now what you have to understand right here is one of two things is going to happen. A, they're either going to lie out of their teeth, because the thing about egomaniacs is we want everybody to think the world's perfect, right? But there's a reason why they're on the phone call. Okay, so this is what I'll say. So Brian, just tell me everything's well, okay? So hey, Brian, hey, what frustrates you about your business, man? What's broken? In other words, what keeps you up at night?
Everything's good right now.
Everything's good? Really? Everything's good. Okay, well, let's just talk a little bit about this, because I think you're lying. Because I think if everything was good, you wouldn't be on this phone call right now. Okay, so hey, let's just put this aside. Now, what am I doing? I'm smacking him upside the head. There's another way to do this, okay? There's another way to do this. So tell me everything's good right now.
Oh, perfect. Everything's going good.
Dude, man, you should be doing $200,000-$300,000 a month. What are you guys up to right now?
10.
See what I did?
Yeah.
Dude, you should be doing $200,000 to $300,000 a month.
Yeah.
What did I do? I just slapped him upside the head, right? Okay, without slapping him upside the head. And then he's going to say, we should be doing $200,000 to $300,000. What?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, so do you see what I'm saying? And so at this moment, if you understand what moves people and what elicits people to get a response, this is where it is right now. So what frustrates you about your business? What's broken? In other words, what keeps you up at night? If they say everything's good, your job is to get them talking about their weaknesses. So if they don't ever talk about their weaknesses, you can't ever sell them, because they don't have a problem you can solve, right? So you got to figure this out. So the way to do that is say, dude, come on now, you're not telling me the truth, because if everything was perfect right now, you wouldn't be wasting your time on this phone call. Like something's broken. Or, dude, listen, man, that sounds awesome. You know, I have coached 3,200 people. If you're doing that good, what are you doing, $200,000-$300,000 a month right now? And they'll be like, no. Right? And because that number of 10 or 12,000 they were going to tell me that was going to impress me, now isn't going to impress me anymore. Does that make sense? Okay, are you with me? How are we going? Okay, so number 4. So they're going to tell you, and when they tell you what's broken, you write notes on the right. So on the left side, you write the highlights. On the right side, you solve the problems. And as he's talking about it, anytime you get an opportunity to dive down a little bit, your job here is to move it from the problem to the pain. Does this make sense? You want to find out if there's any pain in there, because if it's just a problem, remember what we said? Problems are do it yourself. Okay, listen, if he's just got, he needs 10 more leads a month or whatever like that, that's a problem. He's not going to pay me for that. But if I jump in there, okay, and watch what happens, okay? If I jump in here and say, something like, tell me a little about that, man. Why you'll see it in a minute, but why do you think your business is doing so poorly right now? Or why do you think you're not getting those leads right now? Or why do you think whatever? Okay, he's going to have to make some kind of admission. Okay? The best admission that he can make is, I don't know. If I knew, I'd fix it, right? And so if he doesn't say that, you can get him there to say that. So listen, man, in my business sometimes when I look at things, sometimes I don't know what's going on. All I know is it's not firing the way that I want it to, and if I knew what it was, I'd fix it, but I don't. And chances are you're there too, right? So, I mean, I can lead them down the path. Number 4. Now I go back up. If your business were firing on all cylinders, what would that look like, and what kind of impact would that have on your bottom line? Now, who's doing all the talking? No, I'm not doing any talking. Brian is.
You're
Okay.
asking all the questions.
I just asked the question, okay? I asked the question. The interviewer always is in control, okay? The detective, okay? The detective isn't going to prison for murder. Does that make sense? He's the one in control. He's asking the questions at that interrogation table. Does that make sense? So he's got no reason to be nervous. He's got no reason, you know what I'm saying? And so this is what you're doing. So if your business were firing on all cylinders, what would that look like, and what kind of impact would that have on your bottom line? Now pay attention, okay? Because this right here is going to tell you the silly math, okay? And he's going to tell you, well, dude, man, if I could get 10 more, 12 more leads a week, man, shoot, that could be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month revenue. You write that down, right? Because all he's doing, he's future pacing himself right now, okay? And then you put it back in his corner. So what do you think you need to do to fix this, okay? And he's going to tell you right here and right now what he thinks he's going to do. And you're going to have to put your coach's hat on and say, okay, he's either on the right path or this dude doesn't have a clue. Okay, you're going to know right away, okay? And then here's the big question, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is question number 6. You ready? How can I help? And then shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Now, it's so funny because I just saw I think Dan Henry actually wrote this. This whole thing, like, entrepreneurs should never ask, how can I help? And they're like, no, you should tell them, not ask them. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because what you're doing right now is they're going to tell you what you can do to sell them. Okay, so I'll say, how can I help? And what they're going to say is, well, you could do this or this or this or this or this, right? And my program is going to do what they just tell them. So when you ask, how can I help? If they say, I don't know, how can you help? Perfect. And then you just go to the next question. If not, chances are they're just going to tell you exactly what they need. So then here's what I say. This is where I shift it. Can I offer you a little free coaching? Is it okay if I offer you a little free coaching? Now what I'm doing is I'm reestablishing my position. And I go in and say, hey, listen. And then I just go through my position statement on the 12th step. Hey, listen, man, thanks for doing this call. I know it's difficult, but, hey, there's hope. We're going to get your business to the next level. I just want to give you a little free coaching. Then I give my credibility. I've been pretty lucky in my life to have coached so many people, over 3,200 people, 54 countries of the world. And what I want you to know, man, is you're not alone in this struggle. Like, lots of people in this struggle. But the great news is there's a way out. I remember when, I was first getting into this, into this business. I didn't know, what was going to come out of it, and I was really struggling. But there were some things that I discovered along the way that really helped me. And I discovered that selling high ticket and so I'll go through my discovery points. And because of that, I've been able to create a coaching program, and then I go to payoff. I just follow 12 steps right here. I've been able to coach a coaching program that helps people like you, create 6 and 7 figure businesses, using a little pathway. So I'm just going to give you this pathway real quick. I think you can use this. This is part of our Yellow Brick Road thing, and I told you that I wanted to show you how to do this. So just take a piece of paper, and I'm just going to walk through my pointer system. I'm going to take 3-4 minutes just to walk through my pointer system. So listen, if I were you, I would do this. P, blah, blah, blah. O-I-N-T-E-R. Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense on how you're doing that, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on, and I'm going to teach my pathway. And then I'm going to say, hey, does that make sense? This is called a trial close, right? Hey, does that make sense? Are you getting this? Are you understanding this? It's called a trial close. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is if I want to work with them, I'm just going to look at them, or I'm going to talk with them and say, you know what, Brian, dude, I really think you're a really good fit for our CAVU program. And our CAVU program is designed to help businesses like you break out of their shell, get unstuck, and move to 7 figures as quickly as possible. And so I'm going to tell them, I think you are a good fit. And then I'll give the product name, product description, product outcome. In fact, there's another company that's very similar work that you do, but they're up in Buffalo, New York, and they came on and they were sort of stuck and they were trying to figure it out. And God, just in a matter of 3 coaching calls, we were able to get them unstuck. Now they're on their way to making $1 million in just, less than 4 or 5 months. Okay, so social proof, right? Then what's next? In the 12 steps, what's after social proof? Perceived value. Okay, so hey, let me tell you what's in CAVU. Okay, just so you know, the payoff CAVU is we're going to help you create a 6-7 figure business. But here's what's in Thibodeaux. So what it is, it's a year-long program. Okay, it's you and me working on your business for an entire year for a fraction of the cost of what it should cost. Okay, and then so what we do is you can have access to me anytime you want. So I give you a schedule link. You can book a call with me every week, every month, every quarter, whatever you want to do. You're going to get a chance to book a call with me. And on that phone call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through our pointer system. I'm going to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders, all 7 cylinders. So in other words, we're going to work with you on your payoff, on your product, on your path. We're going to help you create an irresistible offer. We're going to launch it internally. We're going to help you make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible. I mean, if we could put another 50, 60, 70,000 bucks in your bank account next month, would that help? Okay, right. So you follow me? And so I just go through that value stack, okay? And then I move over. Then I move over. To the price, and then I invite them to join. Okay, I invite them to join. If they say yes right there, awesome. Okay, if they don't say yes, and then I don't do any type of hard sales tactic, like the whole Jordan Belfort thing. I don't do any of that. I just feel like if I've done a good enough job, they're asking me, when can I work with you? Does that make sense? And so what I do on that phone call here, it's so powerfully important. You need to learn this. The reason why I printed this off for you guys here, and the reason why I gave it to you guys in a downloadable there, is because I want you to print this off, because this is the framework that I use right here when I invite them on a phone call. Now, let's talk a little bit about the phone call, and then I'm going to move on. The phone call cannot be, hey, well, why don't we jump on the phone and see if we're a good little fit for each other? It can't be that, right? It can't be that. Why? Yeah.
So do you always teach a factor?
Always. Always. I deal with you. You pay me money.
I paid you money, but it wasn't because of your pathway.
Huh?
It wasn't because of the pathway.
It was because of payoff.
Yeah, it was the pathway.
Of course. It's always because of the payoff. You never buy it because of the pathway. Pathway only builds confidence in the payoff. Does that make sense? Yeah. No, I always teach pathway. But I don't always teach it as in like, let me break it down for you. You know, what I do say is, hey, listen, we have a 7-step process that we put you through. And because people do want to know that you know what you're talking about. So I say, hey, we have a 7-step process that, you know, depending on how the phone call went, we have a 7-step process that we put you through. So here's what we're going to do. Phase 1 is our POI. So what we do is we start off with helping you create a product, create a path, and helping you create a payoff, right? Because we want people to buy that as quickly as possible. And then we put an offer together, because, you know, people buy for hook, story, offer. Okay, so your hook and story come from your P, and your offer comes from your O, and we want to get that launched out to the world as quickly as possible. We want you to make 50, 60, 70,000 bucks in the next 90 to 100 days. What would that do for your business? Right? I always do that. And then phase 2 is, once we do that, now we go back and we look at that offer. We tweak it. We see what worked, what didn't work. We make adjustments to that. And then we go back to our audience and see if we can get 2, 3, 4, 5 more sales. Once that works, now we move to T, which is now we're going to build a tribe. Tribe of people who know us, like us, trust us, follow us, because I don't ever want you to have to go out and just rely solely on cold audience. Warm audience always converts better than cold audience, so what we do is we help you build a warm audience. Okay, from there we run a little traffic. Not to make sales, but we run traffic to build your pond, okay? And then you got to become an expert, right? So if you're going to go from 6 to 7 figures, the world needs to see you elevate from 6 to 7 figures. So our E is, we have an elevation process, a whole content strategy process that we use to help you become visible to the world, to make your status in the online world much better. And then what we do is we create a reciprocity process, okay, where we give away most of your stuff, and it brings people into what we call your GDP, and people just throw money at you. I don't know anything about you, but I want to get to the point where I'm not having to go chase clients. I want clients chasing me. So that is Thibodeaux. You like that? So that's normally how I would teach that. Does that make sense? You see how you can teach that process, and it just makes it just sort of desirable for people, and you're not boring them through the process. You guys with me?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this. We got to sell the call. Not only do we invite them on a call, but we have to, if we want them to say yes, we have to sell the call. This is not well, why don't you see if we're a good fit for each other? That's terrible. This is a strategy call. This is a breakthrough session. This is a discovery call. This is something I would normally charge $1,000 to $2,000 for. Listen, I'm happy to comp this to you. If you want this, if you believe this would help, let's schedule a call. Let's get on there and let's see if we can get your business to the next level. The call has got to benefit your audience. If the call does not benefit your audience, most of them will say no. They will no-show you. Your show-up rate is going to be terrible. Okay? I have a call. If you were to go to firstfunnelfree.com, we don't use that website anymore, but if you were to go there, there's still a link on there where you can call, where you can click, and you can schedule a 10-minute appointment with me. Okay? And this is what I have. Do you know what the show-up rate is on that? Almost zero. Because people book that phone call, and it's just a discovery call. It's if we're a good fit for each other, and nobody ever shows up. So every time I see it pop up on my calendar, I just ignore it. Because I guarantee you nobody's going to show up. Okay? But when I go on there and say, hey, let's get on and do a Yellow Brick Road call, what's the show-up rate on that one?
100.
Not quite, but close. Okay? It's close. It's way up there. It's well over 80% on the show-up rate there, right? So you've got to sell the call. So what do you have? Okay? So I have two of them. Okay? I have a Yellow Brick Road call. And I have a Decade in a Day call. These are my two calls that I give people when I'm trying to sell them on a phone to get on me. If I'm going to spend my time getting on the phone with somebody, I'm not going to do a passive phone call with them. I'm going to blow their freaking mind because I'm going to get money out of them if they're the right fit for me. Does that make sense? Don't do passive, boring, idiotic phone calls. Okay? Do something that's going to help them. Yellow Brick Road, we're going to lay out an entire year's worth of strategy for you so you know exactly what to do in your business. The Decade in a Day call, I'm going to show you exactly what you have to do to go from 6 figures to 7 figures over the next 10 years. What would you like in 1 decade to be making $1 million a year? How would that feel to you, right? Does that make sense? And so we've got these 2 phone calls that I do. I do the same exact thing on both phone calls. I just walk through this. That's it. Just that. Right? And they get off those phone calls and like, holy hell, that was like the greatest call ever. Right? Does that make sense? And they did 90% of the talking. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you got to sell. This is all in marketing. As you're marketers, you got to do this, okay? So let's go on. E. Okay. So once I've called them out by name, I've shared the payoff. So people are getting excited. They want to know what I got, okay? And then I leverage existing relationships. So now I've broadened my particular horizon, and more people are going to start filling up my inbox with stuff. Then I'm going to invite them to get on the call. And then E, right here, this is you're going to energize hope and engage in future-paced dialogue, okay? Energize hope. Remember yesterday I said that you and I sell the same thing? Okay, we do. You want to get people thinking about tomorrow, not about yesterday, okay? So people never buy from you unless they recognize a problem and believe that you have a solution for them. So what your job is you've got to get them on that phone call, okay, recognizing that they got an issue, but boy, this is what tomorrow could look like. You got to jazz them up. You got to get them excited. If you don't get them excited, they're reluctantly going to pay you. You don't want them to reluctantly pay you. You want them to think that they're ripping you off by giving you 30 grand. Does that make sense? And you do that by showing them. So here's the question to guide them. Like we said, can I offer a little free coaching? Now, a lot of this is the pathway broken down, okay? It's just restating the obvious. But the energized hope is, can I offer a little free coaching, teach a pathway? I think you'd be a great fit, okay? Now, then you have to neutralize the objections, okay? Now watch this. Neutralize the objections. So once I energize hope, now I got to neutralize objections. What 3 limiting beliefs do people have?
Money.
Well, that's the problems they have. But remember, yesterday we said there are 3 limiting beliefs they have. There's an external, there's an internal, and there's a vehicle. Okay, these are the objections that they're going to have. Okay, so people are joining the call with the mindset of wanting to rip you off. Okay, if you're taking notes, they're wanting to rip you off. So think about the mindset that's happening right here. So you're offering a breakthrough call. So they're wanting to get on a phone call and pick Mr. Chad's brain, and they're hoping that they can get on this phone call, I can give them some solid advice, help them out, and they can hang up that phone call, implement that advice, and make millions of dollars without ever paying me a penny. I call that, they come on the call with the subconscious idea that they want to rip me off. I'm going onto the phone call with the idea that I'm going to ask them some very specific questions. I'm going to point out their problems. I'm going to give them a pathway to success. I'm going to invite them to work with me. and I'm going to take money from them. So they're coming to the phone call wanting to rip me off. I'm coming to the phone call wanting to get their money. So obviously you're coming to the phone call with two different expectations, okay? Have you ever gone on one of those discovery calls and said, I can't wait to give this guy money? No, but I want to join this webinar because I want to pay Chad $25,000. Nobody ever says that. You go on that webinar, that free masterclass, because you want to rip me off. That's just the way it is, okay? Just understand it. You do it, I do it, okay? I hate paying people money. I want to go on a Tony Robbins webinar and steal everything from him that he's got. I have no desire to put one penny in his pocket. But do I put money in his pocket? Unfortunately, I do. Right? I do. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so we're all the same way. So what you have to understand is that you have to neutralize objections. If they're coming to want to rip you off, okay, you've got to overcome those internal, external, and vehicle beliefs. Okay, so here's a way to do that. To neutralize objections. So we're going to just pick on Ross, okay? So I asked Ross the question earlier. Ross, what do you think has to happen in order for your business to have a breakthrough, right? And let's just make it up. What do you think has to happen in order for your business to have a breakthrough?
We need to make sales.
You make sales. What? Now watch this. Watch the questions you can ask to overcome these. Why do you think that's not happening right now?
Why is it happening right now?
Well, I'm going to say, why do you think it's not happening right now? And here's what he's going to do. He's going to give me an internal excuse, an external excuse, or a vehicle excuse. Watch this. Why is that not happening right now?
Because I haven't launched yet.
Okay, which one is that?
External.
That's an external excuse. Why haven't you launched yet?
Because I'm not finished.
Which one is that one? Internal. What aren't you finished with?
What am I not finished with?
What are you not finished with?
Creating the content sales process.
Oh, which one is that? Vehicle. See, he just gave me all three. Does that make sense? He just. What's that? Now I know exactly how to sell it. He's got an external, he's got an internal, he's got a vehicle. He's low hanging fruit. He's easy. I can close him in 2.2 seconds. That make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Because what I did here is I've got to neutralize his objection. He's going to have an objection for why he can't do it. Right? So the first thing that he said was an external belief. Okay, I'm not done yet. You know, Ross. Hey, listen, bro. I get that, man. But I've coached a lot of people, and you know what I know about people who make money and people who don't? People who make money launch before they're done. People who don't make money, they wait till it's all perfected, and then what they find out is by the time they launch it, it's already obsolete. So you put all that time, all that energy, all that effort, you don't even know if your product's going to sell or not. And so what I'd like to do is I want to invite you to Cavu, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to launch this thing right now, way before it's done. It's called beta mode. And I'm going to show you how to create a beta product, how to create a prototype of it, create a syllabus of it, and we can get it out there. And instead of you waiting to get paid, you know, what if we could help you get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in your pocket and people actually paying you to launch, people actually wanting to be a part of your beta program, and they don't care that it's not ready yet because they're buying you. They're not necessarily buying your system. Do you see what I'm saying? So I can overcome that objection. So that's if that's an external belief that it's not done yet. Now let's go internal. Okay, what did you say? What was your internal objection? I forgot. Let's just pretend. Okay, let's just pretend that you said something profound.
He said he wasn't finished with it.
Well, that's the vehicle. Okay, well let's just take this.
Confidence.
What's that? Yeah,
More sales.
yeah. So we'll just go in internal, right?
I haven't launched yet because I haven't finished.
Yeah, you haven't finished. Okay, so the objection I gave you was finished. Okay, well actually it was sort of both, but let's just go. I'll go to internal belief. So what I would say is something is like, hey Ross, here's the thing, man. It's like, do you really believe that you can make a positive difference in the lives of people, and that if you're going to help them speak on stage, that really is something that's going to help others?
Yes.
Right. And who's going to help them?
Me.
You are, right? So in other words, if you really believe that you can help them, okay, and you really believe that you have a system that can work, then you have a moral and ethical obligation to get that thing up and running as quickly as possible. And what I want to do as your coach, okay, is I want to make you better, okay? And part of the Cavu process is we help elevate you as a leader, we help elevate you as an expert, we help you get known in the world. So what happens is if I can help you get launched right now, okay? And I get a little bit more know-how than you got because I've done this a long time and I've got some objectivity. I'm not emotionally involved. If I can help you get this launched very quickly, as soon as we get this launched, I can begin elevating you as a leader, okay? And what's gonna end up happening is you're never gonna have a struggle launching again. You literally can just go Facebook Live and say XYZ, and people can start throwing money at you. See, that's what happens when you elevate yourself as a leader and you stop being the hunter and start being the hunted. So I can overcome that belief. Does that make sense? And then the third one is vehicle, right? The vehicle. And that's just super simple because Cavu saw the vehicle. So what you have to think about is when you neutralize objections, you have to understand that there are internal objections, external objections, and vehicle objections that they're gonna have. So only 3 objections they're gonna have. And you need to know what those are and how you're gonna reply, okay? So it's just one reply to every one. So you're gonna have 3 major objections and 3 major rebuttals. And those rebuttals all should move people, inspire people to take an action. Does that make sense? Are you with me? So like what are, you're gonna spend some time, like what are the objections that people are gonna have, okay? And overcome them. T, okay? T is talk terms, okay? Talk terms. So we have CLIENT, okay, T. This is talk terms. So now that you've done that, okay, now we want to talk terms, okay? So what does this look like, okay? So the element of the terms, so when it's time to talk terms, be careful, that's supposed to say not to talk about what they get, but talk about the payoff they receive, just as Dee was saying a while ago. I didn't pay you because of your process, I paid you because of the payoff. Okay, and so the elements of these terms, okay, we've talked about this yesterday, but you got to make sure you know this. It's name, description, outcome, price, bonus, urgency, scarcity, risk versus purchasing. Okay, you got to have all of those things ready to rock in the terms. Okay, so if you look over on the talk terms, okay, we're going to break this down into 2 parts. Okay, one is talking the terms, and the other one is securing the sale. So the first one is let's talk about it. Okay, name, description, outcome, and price, okay? Name, description, outcome, and price. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna talk terms. We're gonna tell them about your program, here's what it is, here's how it is, here's how much it is. Okay, we're just gonna get that out there. Once we talk the terms in, now we can transition, okay? Now we can transition into securing the sale, okay? Into securing the sale. And here's how you do that. You secure the sale by telling them, if you follow the 12-step process, okay, you secure the sale by going product, payoff, perceived value. So we didn't really get into the perceived value yesterday, but it's the stack followed by, I'm not going to charge you that, but if all this did was blank, would it be worth it, okay? I don't like to do that really hard on a one-on-one just because the etiquette's really odd. So here's sort of how I do that. I would just talk to this, okay? I would say, you're going to flip it around and ask him the question. Hey, Ross, like, man, if you were to come into Cavu and we were able to help you to get your business launched quickly, and we were to help you get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in your pocket to actually get paid, what would that do to your life? You see what I'm saying? I'll just ask him a question. So instead of me saying, if all this did was blank, would it be worth it? If I'm one-to-one, I would just say, hey, well, what would this do? What would this do to your business? What would it do to your life? What would it do? Okay? Well, man, I want to be your partner in that. Like, to me, I'm all about impact and I'm all about influence. And dude, there's nothing in my life that would mean more to me than if I could help you make that happen. Okay? And so I could do that. So here's what I want to do. I want to get you in. I want to remove all the objections. I want to remove all your limiting beliefs. I just want to get you in. So here's what I want to do for you. I want to give you a bonus. Okay? And then I'll go urgency, scarcity. And then I'm going to jump in my pause the payment process and say, let's just do this, right? So if you want this, let's just jump right in, okay? Now, what I've done is to help people buy right now, okay, is I've implemented in my business a 48-hour cooling off period, okay? So if he says, well, man, I got to think. I said, listen, dude, I want you to get that risk reversal, okay? We have a deal in our business, and now I shift it to our. Okay, now watch how I say, I don't say I anymore. Now it's our. We have a thing in our business that we make this risk reversal, but this is for people who buy right now. But we also understand that, you know, we don't want you buying something because you felt pressured or whatever. So we have a 48-hour cooling off period. So what I want to do is I want to send you that link so you can pay your $3,000 deposit so we can get you started. We can secure that 90-day risk reversal for you. I'm going to get you on the calendar. We can start on Monday or whenever day we're going to start. And listen, in the next 48 hours, if you have a change of heart or you get cold feet or you just don't want to do it, hey, just give me a phone call, okay? Give me a phone call and I'll just refund 100% of your money. But I want you to get this risk reversal right now. And so we put a 48-hour cooling off period in there to alleviate that. So this is how you're going to secure. This is exactly how you're going to secure the sale. So when you talk about moving your clients from your bank account to your inbox, you have to understand first and foremost you have to get clients into your inbox. Okay, and so you're going to add a ton of value, right? So you're going to go in and use that content. You're going to go into your Facebook groups, into your networks, into whatever. You're going to add a ton of value. And what that's going to do is going to elevate you to a position. Okay, and then you're going to call them out by name so they know who it is you're working out with. Okay, and then you're going to give the payoff, right? So people know what the payoff is. So when you call them out by name and you say payoff, it piques curiosity, people reach out to you. You're going to leverage existing relationships because we don't want to have to go spend money on ads right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to people that we know and we're going to go to people that they know, okay, and then we're going to build relationships quickly by adding tons and tons and tons of value, and then we're going to rely on the power of weak ties, and we're going to leverage that relationship, and I'm going to close the deal because of the relationship that I have with someone else. Okay, then I'm going to invite them to get on a phone call. Hey, D, man, I'm glad you asked that. Hey, listen, I really think we do that. I got a Yellow Brick Road call, I got a Discovery call, I got a whatever, decade and day call, whatever. Here's my link. Let's jump on a call. Let's start right now. And let's see if I can help you get the breakthrough that you want. Okay, once they're on the call, then I'm going to energize hope. Okay, and I'm going to future pace them, get them thinking about tomorrow. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to neutralize their objections. I'm going to overcome their limiting beliefs externally, internally, and their vehicle. Then I'm going to talk terms with them. Hey, here's what we got. Here's what it is. And then I'm going to invite them to be a part of it, and I'm going to secure the sale. So that's how you move people from your inbox to your bank account. Does that make sense? What kind of questions do you guys have? Is there a laptop back there? Did Keela take her laptop?
Hers is right here.
Huh? Can you look at it and see if anybody's saying anything online? Do you guys have any questions? It may take you guys a second to type that in.
Nothing right now.
Okay, no questions right now?
No, last one's from Cindy.
Yeah.
When you give them a call, if they have a partner, do you give them a call with the partners at that time?
I tried to. Yeah, I tried to. Because what I try to do is I try not to have to do 2 calls.
Okay.
Right? Because, I mean, your time is valuable, right? But I also know that law of diminishing returns says that the first time they talk with you, that's where it is. And every time they come back, the chances of them securing a deal with you are lower, right? So that's why I try to do everything I can. Let's just do it, right? And so, like, now there are people that I'm not 100% sure I want to work with because I'm at the point now where, God, I don't need any negative reviews.
Right.
I got a pretty good reputation, and so I want positive reviews, right? So if I don't think I can help somebody, I don't take them, and I don't need the money like I used to, and so it's a little easier to say no, okay? But you want to talk with as many people. You want to at least talk with the decision maker, okay? And so you could just say, well, hey, let's just Skype him in right now, or let's conference him in right now. That makes sense to get him in there, yeah. But you will get good at this, okay? You'll get good at this process. And when you understand that you don't have to sell them, they have to sell you, it just shifts everything, okay? You're the permission giver, not the permission getter. So don't be a vendor, okay? Anything else?
How do you leverage that in a product versus a service? Like instead of, typically if I'm onboarding a client or doing a pitch, I show them exactly, basically my point of system.
Yeah.
But it's of the service, services and versus, what I'm going to do for them. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, so the first two, the C and the L, okay, that's all about getting the phone call, getting the interview, right?
Yeah.
So then when you're on that interview, so that energize hope is where you're doing it. So I'm going to energize hope by future pacing the conversation and teaching my payoff. You're going to energize hope by showing them behind the scenes of this cool little widget you got.
Gotcha.
Right? But it still does that. That's the point of it.
Right.
Like you want them thinking like, oh my God, I got to have that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? This is the solution I've always been looking for. Right? And then just what happens is because you know the types of people that you're working with, they will talk themselves into the sale.
Yeah.
They will talk it into it. And so, like, especially when you start talking terms and you start, like, I always tell people, now you just got to know my coaching is very expensive. And people always ask me, why do you say your coaching is expensive? Why don't you say it's affordable? I say, because I know the types of clients that I work with, and when you say it's expensive, they believe that you're saying they can't afford it, and they want to prove to you that they can't afford it. Does that make sense? Right. Yeah. I've just worked with enough of me long enough to know how I operate. Right? Yeah. And we all love us some us. We all love us some us. So, what else, guys? Okay. Well, hey, everybody stand up. I'm going to walk you guys through. I don't even know if anybody's watching online right now. I hope you are. It's Sunday morning. You guys are probably at church or whatever. But I told you guys today I'm going to talk with you guys a little bit about our Training 14 program. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Exporter wants to know, will your approach work only for high ticket? In other words, can a realtor use the techniques to get a listing?
Okay, so the question was, will this approach only work with high ticket, or can this approach work to get a listing as a realtor? So here's the thing with realtors. Realtors, in fact, I want to do a one-day mastermind specifically for realtors because there's a mindset with real estate that you're going to have to think about, okay? And this all goes back to permission and the vendor mindset, right? So when you are doing outbound calls, so in other words, when you're cold calling people and you're just trying to do something with them, what happens a lot of times with realtors is you're just reaching out to them and asking them, you're calling somebody you don't know and saying, hey, can I solve a problem for you? And of course not, right? Because I don't know who you are, right? But when you go on there and you can build some kind of relationship with them. So for instance, if you were to cold call, I don't like cold calling, but if you were to cold call and just simply say, hey, Johnny, in your neighborhood, we've noticed that houses have gone up 18% over the last year, and I've put together a guide to show you exactly how to get the value of your home increased by 18% over the next 12 months. I'd like to just send this to you, no obligation, no whatever, no strings attached. And then you can send that to them, and now you're beginning to build some value to them. And you say, hey, I'll follow up with you in a few weeks to see if there's anything I can do to help you. Now you're adding value to them. Okay, now the relationship is shifted, right? Because now you're not a vendor saying, hey, mister, I know you don't know who I am, but I'm a realtor. Can I help you sell your house? Mister, I don't know you. Stranger danger, okay? As opposed to saying, hey, I just gave you something that's going to help you increase the value of your house by 18% over the next 12 months. I want to see if there's anything I can do to help increase your value. Now what you're doing is you're collapsing time, you're building relationships with people. Then when it comes time to make a sale, it's much easier. So what I'm going to tell you first and foremost is you got to shift the way that you think. You can't be a vendor with these people, okay? Well, you can't be one. You have to be an expert with these people. So do something to shift the relationship. Second thing is you got to do something to move from an outbound to an inbound call. Okay, you want these people calling you because the chances of you being a vendor when you call them is pretty high, but the chances of you being a vendor when they call you is pretty low. Okay, so you want to shift it to where they're calling you. So if you can create some kind of, remember the call them out by name, add value with the payoff, if you can create some kind of lead machine, marketing machine that has people getting on your calendar, now you can go through this entire process because they're coming to you. And you are the expert, not the other way around. So they're not vetting you anymore. They're not looking at you as one of many. They're looking to you as the solution. So will this work for a realtor? Heck yeah, if you'll make those two shifts inside your business. One day, very soon, I'm going to do a whole real estate workshop right here at my house because it was one of the very first ones that I ever did, and it's one of the best trainings I've ever did. And I promise you that if I can shift your mindset on things, your real estate business will go drastically higher. I'm not going to help you sell houses because that's not what I do, but I can help you market and get inbound leads and change the way your mindset works so you are an expert, not a vendor. Yes, ma'am.
We'll talk about notes and replay.
Okay. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to talk with you about a couple things, okay? So that's sort of the end of our training, but two things. We've covered a lot of information. So over the next day or two, we're going to be downloading these videos. We're going to be putting them in a back office, and you're going to have access to all of the replays if you've taken advantage of the notes and replay package. It's $99. You can't beat that. You only paid $1 to come anyway. To be a total investment of $100, okay, but you're going to be able to get this. So all you got to do is just go to highticket.net/HTM-notes-replay, okay? And if you click that button, I think Akila put it in the chat room.
It's on the left.
It's on the left of the funnel?
It's on the left of the whole video. So it's right on the page.
Yeah, that's right. Right in the classroom that you're watching from right now, you can just click that button below. It'll take you there. You can buy that. A little special bonus we have is we have an entire online course called High Ticket Mastery. It's some of the same teaching I've done here, but it's so much different because it's a little bit more prepared because I did it in a studio. It's more designed as an online course. You're gonna love that. You're gonna love the teaching. Love the teaching. So I'm going to give that to you. We've been selling that for $1,000. You can get that absolutely free just for jumping on that. So get that. But what I want to show you is I want to show you the Stop Learning, Start Doing method, okay? So some of you guys, I want to show you this. Day one, we talked to you guys about CAVU, right? And we said that if you're trying to build a 6- and 7-figure business, a coaching, consulting, strategy business, then CAVU may be for you. And it's an awesome program. It's an entire year of live and interactive coaching with me and our entire team and all the other CAVUers. You get 4 live events with that. You get all the teaching, all the training. We have awesome risk reversals. If that's you, we want to invite you to come be a part of CAVU. Yesterday, we went and we talked to you about our Launch Accelerator program. So if you're just sort of starting out and you want to accelerate yourself and you want to get up to 6 figures as quickly as possible, you need to come do Launch Accelerator. Launch Accelerator is $1,000 a month or one payment of $10,000. It's an awesome program. It's 12 weeks of intense coaching followed by 12 weeks of follow-up. Plus, you get to come to a couple events. It's awesome. You should check out Launch Accelerator. But this one here I want to show you, it's called Stop Learning, Start Doing. One of the things that I've learned is you and I are in learning mode constantly. The problem with being in learning mode constantly is sometimes all you're doing is absorbing, but you're never applying. So information without application is stupidity, right? Okay, so what you want is you want to take information, apply it, and then you get a transformation, okay? And that's what we want to do. So because of this, one of the big issues that I see so many of you guys making is you're just in learning mode. You learn. So here's what happens. You get an idea for a business, okay? You're going. And then all of a sudden you see somebody's webinar, whoops, and then you change direction. And then you see somebody else, whoops, and then you change direction. You see somebody else, whoops, you change direction. And you guys are just a wishy-washy mess. The reason is because you're a learner. Right? Leaders are readers, learners are earners. You've heard all that, right? Okay, but there actually comes a point where learning can hurt you. So I put together a program called Training 14 where we help you stop learning and start doing. You can actually launch your business as quickly as 14 days. The next session starts September 14th. Here's how it works. Number one, you're going to train directly with me live. Now, this says 2 hours each day, but we think last night we've shifted this. We've heard from enough of you, we've heard from enough of our team that I think this next one, instead of doing an intense one where you can get it all in 14 days, I think I'm going to go live once a week, okay? Once a week. Now, for those of you who are intense and you want to get through all this in 2 weeks, no problem. All the information is going to be there. You can get through it all in 2 weeks if you want to. But I'm going to go live 2 hours each week. I'm going to do some training. I'm going to put my teaching in the back office. And then what's going to happen is that I'm going to give you assignments and I'm going to review them. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to review your assignments and you're going to do the work and you're going to launch your business very, very quickly. Now, here's the thing about this training. It's not a program. It's not a done-for-you program. It's not theory. This is practical coaching, practical teaching. The guys, this has a 200-page workbook that goes along with it. It's not an online course. It's not a do-it-yourself program. It's daily or actually weekly live training with a multiple 2 Comma Club and award-winning coach, okay? And what I do is I walk you step by step and you launch your business in just 14 days. And to help with the matters, I put a nice, cute little doggy right here. Everybody say, aw. Aw. That's right, okay? And so here's what it is. It's the express lane of launching your business. What I want to do is I want to put you on the express lane to launch your business. I want to kick perfectionism and procrastination in the tail, and I want to get you up and running as quickly as humanly possible. If you want to do it in 2 weeks, we can get you up and running in 2 weeks. If you want to take a little bit longer, we can do that as well. We want to get you up and running. It's the fastest, simplest, and easiest way to launch and grow an online business, and it's really inexpensive. For less than the cost of your typical online course, I can have you up and running and live. You say, well, hold on a second, Chad. I don't have the time. Well, listen, just give me a couple weeks or give me a couple hours every week. Direction. Hey, I have a 7-step system that is going to guide you each and every step of the way. Chad, I don't know tech or I don't know funnels. Don't worry about it. My team will handle that for you. Okay, they'll take care of the tech for you. Well, what about funnels? Well, goodness gracious, guys, I'm a ClickFunnels Top 30 designer. I'm going to give you the templates you can just use. Well, what about graphics? Hey, my graphics team is going to handle all of your graphics for you during this time. They'll create your logos. They'll create your brand guides. They're going to create your lead magnets. They'll design it for you, okay? You'll have access to them 24/7, 365. And the cost, it's only $83 a month. That's right, $83 a month, okay? And what I believe is that your message is important and it deserves to be heard. I want to just tell you a little bit about some of the people who've been through this program. You see, it's moving from beta to live, okay? If you know anything about the way I teach, I start with alpha, then I go to beta, then I go to launch, then I go to scale, then I go automate. Well, for the last 120 days, this program has been in beta mode. We've done 3 rounds of beta mode. We've been designing the course, we've been perfecting the course, and holy heck, has it been helpful in getting so many people results. Minna right here says, the 14-day program over-delivered by Chad has been the game changer in my business. The knowledge and expertise that I received far exceeded my expectations, and I honestly could not have asked for more, okay? I honestly couldn't ask for more. What we do is we walk you through my pointer system, the product, the offer, the launch, the nurturing leads, the building a tribe, the elevating your position, and giving everything away. Here's what you're going to get inside of the Training 14 program. Now listen to me. Guys, I can't emphasize this enough. I've been around this industry for a long time. I've bought over $20,000 worth of online courses. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, okay? This, in my opinion, is one of the best coaching programs ever. Why? Because it's not an online course. It's not a do-it-yourself. This is live and interactive coaching. You get to rub shoulders with me for pennies. For pennies, okay? Now listen to me. You're going to get 14 days of live coaching, or in this case, it's going to be 14 weeks, because we're shifting it. Because some of you guys have said, guys, we love the 14 days, but boy, it's a lot. It was great during the COVID period when everybody was staying at home and on quarantine, but now that things are opening back up and we're all going back to work, can we make it 14 weeks instead of 14 days? And we said yes. So it's 14 weeks of live coaching. You get a yellow brick road strategy. This is where we open up your business, and I design it for you so you know exactly where you're going. You're going to get reviews every week. You're going to get reviews, and you're going to be able to ask me specific questions. I'm going to give you specific answers. You're going to get funnel templates and email swipe files. In fact, just recently I built a funnel for Tony Robbins and his crew, and they turned that funnel into millions and millions and millions of dollars, and we've decided to take that funnel and to put it inside the system. You're going to get that exact funnel absolutely free. All the email swipe files for indoctrination sequence, the follow-up sequence, we're just going to give them to you. You don't have to spend any time on it. Just take anything that's highlighted, just put your words in there, and those emails are going to be ready. My graphics team and tech team are going to take care of you, and you're going to go inside of our VIP community. Now, what's not listed on here? We've decided to throw in a very special bonus just for those of you who are watching us here on High Ticket Mastery today, and this may come available for people on my birthday, but we will see. When I first got into the coaching business, we had a coaching program called Tribe 100. Tribe 100 was weekly Q&A where people could come on every Thursday at 9:30 a.m. and we'd put them in groups, and I'd be able to coach them and teach them and train them for somewhere between 30 minutes to 90 minutes every single week. But the best thing about that is they were able to bring their funnels, and I could look at it and I could help them redesign it. They could bring their emails, and I could go in and fix them for them. They could ask me specific questions, and I could help them. They had copywriting issues. They know I'm a great copywriter. We'd go in and be able to fix this. When we launched this program, people were paying me 12 payments of $597. Now that's when it was in beta. They were paying 12 payments of $597 with the understanding that it was going to then go up to 12 payments of $997. Okay, that's our Launch Accelerator program. And what we decided to do, for those of you who are watching this, that if you will jump on board today and buy the Training 14 program for $83 a month. That's it for a year. $83 a month for a year. That's less than $1,000. Okay? If you'll jump on board and buy that today, we've all decided that we will give you Tribe 100, which is a $7,200 real cost program. We will throw that in absolutely free. What does that mean? That means for an entire year, you're going to get coaching from Chad Thibodeaux. Every Thursday, 9:30 a.m., you're going to have a link. You can jump on Zoom. You can come in. You're going to get the teaching that I do every week. You can ask me specific questions. I'm going to give you specific answers, and I'm going to be able to help you get to the next level. Now, here's the thing. There's over 300 people in Tribe 100. But on Thursdays, when I jump on the phone call, if there's 3 or 4 people, we're having a good day. The reason is because not everybody needs it anymore. And so that opportunity has opened up a great hole for you. The reason is it's a lot like one-on-one teaching. It's a lot like one-on-one coaching. So guys, you have an opportunity, a very short window of opportunity to jump on board and get a lot of great coaching for just a little bit of money. So if your money's tight and you can't quite do the Launch Accelerator and you can't quite do CAVU, but you want to one day, this is where you start. You jump on board, Training 14. Stop learning, start doing. You push this little button right here and you're going to get started. Here's what we're going to do. Day 1 or week 1. We're going to position you for profit. We're going to work on your personal value proposition, your big domino statement, the payoff statement, and your seller's bio. Day 2, we're going to get your minimal viable product. We're going to just get you up and running as quickly as possible. Day 3, you're going to be ready to make money, or week 3 in this case, you're going to make money. We're going to craft all of your assets, your articles, your master classes, your PLF videos, your lead magnets, your talking points. Week 4, we're going to help you attract the tribe. People know you, like you, trust you, and follow. Week 5, we're going to get you to the content hub. What do you say when you add value to people? Week 6, we're going to give you the opportunity script. This is a video script that you're going to use in order to sell people. Week 7, we're going to show you how to do the perfect live stream. Week 8, we're going to give you the complete funnel system. Okay, week 9, you're going to learn the 4 launch strategies. I taught here at High Ticket Mastery, I actually taught these strategies to you, okay? One of them is the quick launch. You're going to learn how to do that and make money incredibly quickly. Week 10, you're going to design your groups. We have the pond and the resorts. We're going to show you how to do both of those Facebook groups and be able to leverage them for expertise. Week 11, you're going to learn the launch checklist. How do you know you're ready to go, right? A pilot never flies an airplane without a checklist. You should never launch a funnel without one either. Week 12, we're going to give you the phone funnel and Facebook ads. Just a while ago, I showed you what to say on the phone. Well, how about having a funnel that gets people on the phone? You're going to get that in week 12. Week 13, you're going to turn a lead into a client. The training that I just gave you is week 13 of this one. You're going to get it again. Okay, and week 14, Tribe 100. I'm going to show you how to attract your first 100 fans and turn that into $100,000. It's Training 14. It's one of the best live online coaching programs on the market today. Okay, and I'm going to invite you to jump on board. I believe in this so much that we're going to give you a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Okay, just come in. Spend a couple days with it. If you hate it, just send us a text message. We'll refund you your money. We won't be upset at you. And we'll let you out of the contract. Absolutely no problem. Okay, Akila says, Chad's 14-day program is amazing, intense program you need in your life. I was stuck in my business and now I have a clear picture. Eric says, I'm a certified health coach. Recently, I participated in the 14-day launch program. I've utilized my services mainly online, and his program showed me the steps to launch successfully online. D says, I'm D French, a holistic business strategy. I was part of the 14-day program. I've been a part of the service-based industry and wanted to merge more online. Chad's program showed me the exact steps to launch. Don says, as a brand spanking new digital marketing, much of the growth of the 14 days was working on the clarity of my vision of myself as a leader to people who need my skills and knowledge. I highly recommend it. So once again, you're going to train live from me for 2 hours. You're going to get assignments. We're going to send you home to do the work. You're going to come back and I'm going to be able to review those, help you make adjustments to them. You do the work and you launch your business as quickly as possible. It's you, me, Zoom. Let's go. What do you say? You click that button and let's get started for $83 per month. You and me, baby. Let's do it. So if you're just getting started in the online world, I guarantee you there's not a better online program to get you up and running and to get you going than Training 14. You can do it as quick as 14 days or take as much as 14 weeks. It's totally up to you, but let's get started. Thank you. Stop. Yeah. All right. Guys, that's it. Okay, that's it. So if you guys need any help, just reach out to us today. We will be around. Has this been helpful to you guys? Yes. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Hopefully this helped propel you and get you to the next level. But here's the thing. If all you do is take information and you don't apply it, well, that's not very smart. So take the information, add the application, and what you're going to get is you're going to get transformation. All right, guys, we love you. Yes, ma'am.
Let Trevor know we'll send him out the link for the launch accelerator.
Trevor, we will send you the link to the launch accelerator, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the other side. All right, guys, God bless. Love you.